boy Big Al, right back at you with another video. On this tutorial, what we're gonna do here, guys, we're gonna do a number 2 zero taper comb over with a beard trim. As you can see, I get right at it, guys. I get my number 2 metal with on my Austrian, and all I'm doing is going up about tempo high, guys, all the way around. You see that? Just taking all the bulk down, getting my number 2. I just create a straight, almost a straight guide all the way around the head. Just evening it all out. Once I'm done with the number 2, I quickly grab my clipper over comb, and I'm going to start clipper over combing. What I do is I always start in the back of the head, and I just start basically just taking it down and blending it all in. So I'm blending, what I'm doing right here is basically I'm blending from a number 2 to a number 4, because that's what basically what he had right there. So I'm just evening it all out, blending it all in. Excuse my camera work here, guys. As you guys can see, all I'm doing is blending it all out. Blending from the number 2 to the number 4, just evening it all out. One side's done, now I'm going to move over to the other side, guys. Let me take this opportunity to explain to you guys that sometimes the customer comes in and they want, they'll tell you a number 2 on the sides, and they don't know what a taper is. And a lot of times, guys, what I like to do is I always explain what a taper is to them, and sometimes even show them a picture what it is, because a taper always looks better than having blocked out sideburns. And some customers just don't know, so we have to explain it to them as a barber. And at the same time, it's a little bit more difficult haircut, but it looks a lot nicer. Keep that in mind, guys. As you guys can see, I'm right there. I'm actually having a little difficult time blending that in, and the reason why is because you're blending into this is actually a comb over on top, so I have to leave enough there so that it combs over. So what I'm doing now here is I grab my trimmer, and basically what I'm doing is knocking off the sideburn and going around the ear and just creating my first side part, the sideline of the taper. I quickly move over to the other side, same thing, grab my trimmer, and I'm just knocking off the sideburn and going around the ear and creating the second side of the taper. Now I'm going to create my back guide, the same thing with my trimmer. I'm just creating the guide in the back, and everything below that I'm going to take off. And from there is where my taper is going to begin. I'm going to fade up from there. That's what a taper is, guys. It's a fade. It's a smaller fade around just the edges and the sideburns. So here quickly I grab my 1.5. My 1.5, I'm just going to go up along the side. I always start my tapers on the right hand side. And I grab my 1.5, and I'm just knocking it all off right there. Going up, creating my first guide. What I did right there is I switched to my yellow guard because it looks better on my video. So I went from my black guard to the yellow guard. Now what I did is I took off my guard, and I'm going with a half. That's no clip with the lever open. Going to a half. Now I'm gonna release, lower it a little bit more, and just take off the bottom line. Now I'm grabbing my half clip, and I'm just taking off the center shadow there. Now we move over to the other side, guys. Same thing. We're gonna have our number 1 lever open. Now we're gonna grab no clip, lever open, and we're just erasing the bottom line. It's already a 1.5, so it erases very easily, guys. Now I'm gonna grab my half clip next right here, and I'm gonna erase the center shadow right there. As you can see, the center shadow just erases quickly. All you do is rake that center shadow, it's just come right up. Right here, what I'm doing is a little detail work with my machine, just cleaning it all up. Now I grab my trimmer, and what I'm doing is just erasing that bottom line, just kind of raking it and taking it up a little bit. Now again with my half clip, lever about halfway open, I'm just doing a little detail work, just blending it all in. Now I grab my one clip, lever open, and what we're doing is that's 1.5, and we're gonna go all the way up. 1.5 blends into a number 2, guys, so it should blend right in right there. Once I go across, what I did is I lowered my lever and I went the 1 all the way across. Now I grab my machine, no clip, lever open, that's 1/2, and I go up about 1 inch. And as I go across, I lower my lever 1/4 of the way and I go across until I erase the bottom line. Now I'm gonna grab my 1/2 clip, lever open, and I'm gonna start focusing on that center shadow. With the lever open, guys. And as I go across, what I do is I lower the lever 1/4 of the way and I just keep tapping that center shadow. Then I lower it 1/4 of the way more and it magically erases. Okay, it's not magic, but you guys gotta work at it, man. It's simple. All this is a little fade. If you guys can fade, you can taper. Remember that, guys. A fade is a taper. A taper is a fade. Vice versa. So what I'm doing right here, guys, is I'm using my trimmer to make those 2 defined lines on a taper. Remember, guys, a taper is, back in the day, used to be called a 2-line. It wasn't even called a taper. It was just called give me a 2-line. Now it's called a taper. The reason why is because it has 2 lines, 1 on each side. So what I did right there is I grabbed my number 2 metal and I was just basically just raking that shadow right there and just making it blend in. Now I grab my one clip with the lever open and I'm the same thing, just blending in that center shadow right there so it all blends in nice. Now the time to focus on the top, guys, and what I'm doing right here is, as you guys can see, I add generous amounts of water, and when I cut the top, I like to get the top very, very moist. So what I do, guys, is I start off in the front and I do my cuts in 4 sections, guys, and what I do is I grab a section of the hair, I create my guide, and I go all the way across. As you guys can see, I use big shears. I use 7-inch shears, and the reason why is I do it all in one swoop. You can see I pick up my guide. I see my guide right there, and I clip it. 4 sections, guys. Once I go from front to back, then I go from side to side, and I like to do that because I crisscross. That way I can see what I missed from I went from front to back. Now I can catch it when I go from side to side. Remember, guys, sometimes you have to sell this haircut right here. A lot of times the customer don't even know that they want a taper. They just want to come in and they want to look clean cut, you know. And when you take off the sideburns, it's the difference between not having a fade and getting a taper, you know. It's a little bit longer, but it looks a lot nicer. What I'm doing right here, guys, is I'm just combing his hair, and he wanted to line up, so he has a kind of a little bit of a widow's peak there, so I just combing it out for him, getting it ready to line him up. But in the meantime, what I did is I grabbed my comb, and I'm going to do a little bit of clipper over comb and blend in the side a little bit better. As you can see, there's still a shadow there, so I gotta still get that shadow up, get it out of there. So what I'm doing is just grabbing hair little by little, pull up. Whatever I pull up, I just knock it out. It's kind of like a wall. You have to even that wall out and make it look nice and even. So what I did is I just took a trip all the way around the head of doing a little bit clip over combing and blending it all out, guys. So now what I do is I grab my trimmer and I'm gonna start lining it up. And what I did is I start right in the center, because he had a little widow's peak that just kind of hangs forward. So when they have something like that, that's where I always start my lineup. But if they don't have a widow's peak, I usually start it on the right hand side and I work my way towards the middle of the line of the head. But since he had a little widow's peak, I like to knock that out first and move it out of the way. So what I'm doing right here is I start off in the center of the head and I'm moving my way towards the left. And then what I do is I always do when I do my lineups, I'll do the left side first, and then what I do is I'll move spin the chair around and I'll do the other side. As you can see now, I'm on the other side, and I'm gonna line them up the same way, just so that all lines up nice. Once I line up the right side, I noticed that on the right side there was a little bit hair sticking out. So what I did right here is I grabbed my number 2 metal and I just blended it all in. So we started with the number 2 just blended all perfectly in. That way I could get my crisp, nice lineup. This customer didn't want the length taken down from his beard, so what we're going to do is we're just going to do a quick lineup on him. And what we're doing is just lining up along the side of the ear first, and it's kind of a smaller, not a chin strap, but a little bit right along the chin line, because the chin strap would be a lot thinner. That's why it's not a chin strap. And then we're just going to line up the mustache, and the same thing on the other side, guys. Just a quick lineup, making it look nice and neat. So once we line up all the beard, what we're going to do now is we're going to move over to styling the top of the hair. And what we're going to use is some Suavecito grooming spray. Suavecito grooming spray is my go-to spray for setting the hair before I apply pomade to it. So what I did is I added a generous amount, and what I'm just going to use is my roller brush. Simple technique that I like to use is just applying heat to my roller brush. As I roll it back, you can see that it creates volume in the front and creates a nice little flip in the front. This is a technique that's simple to use in the early morning. You just apply some grooming spray and just roll your brush. So you can see is that when I roll it, automatically adds lift and it dries instantly. So now what I'm going to do is just apply some pomade and basically just set it. This is a quick tip right here, guys. Get yourself a roller brush and a blow dryer. So what I've done here, now that I've blown dry the hair, now I can see where I need to go back and do a little bit more clipper over combing. What I call this is my final detail right here. Before I apply my pomade, I go back and I grab my clipper and my comb, and I'm just gonna go along. And again, what I'm saying is just pull out hair, pull out what's sticking out, and whatever sticks out, you cut it off. Blend it all in, guys. These are the final detail steps before the haircut's done. So what I do is I drape my customer with a towel now and get him ready for some hot lather. And what I do now is I grab my trimmer here and I'm just cleaning up the little hairs that I might have missed when I went with it through it earlier. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lather him up. And the reason being I lather him up is because it's an old school thing, you know, and you use hot lather and it feels really good on the neck, and the customers, sometimes I've gained customers just for the fact that I use hot lather. A lot of barbershops nowadays, they don't do that. They use shave gel, or they don't even use straight razor. They'll just use a shaving machine. But I always like to use the straight razor, especially on a haircut like this. It's just a feeling of having hot lather on your neck, guys. It's a great feeling, and I'm telling you, I've gained customers just because they've never had that feeling before. And the straight razor is a tool that a barber should always use. Implement it. If you don't use it, you learn how to use it. It's just something that you have to know if you're going to be a barber. There's a difference between a barber and a cosmetologist. Cosmetologists can't use a straight razor. We can. And you know, you should learn how to use it. Use hot lather, use the shave gel. The shave gel is also a good tool that we use. Right here, I use it on the forehead because when I do the forehead, I like to see where I'm going. So I always use shave gel when I do the lineup in the front, and hot lather when I do the neck and the sideburns. The way to end this haircut is from Suavecito pomade. what I'm gonna do is apply about a dime size amount in my hand, rub it through, and just rub it through the hair. Not really flattening the front, just flattening the back, and on the top. In the front, you're just kind of doing a top coat. That way when you comb it through, you just get a nice lift. That's pretty much it for this haircut. Thanks for watching, guys. If you guys like this haircut, please subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, leave a comment, I'll answer it back to you. Check out my vlogs on my channel. I'll be coming out with more stuff. Thanks for watching, guys.